Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. Hopefully, I wasn't peeking into the mic right there. But, of course, this is the wonderful show where we get on and talk to you guys all about our wonderful, nerdy news, opinions, discussions on whatever the topic may be of that given week. This week, we have a very special one, but I don't want to get into it too much yet without introducing my lovely co-hosts, Aiden and Benjamin. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Take it away, Ben.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, I want them at the same time, actually. I would like to hear them at the same time.
1, 2, 3.
I was going to go. If you started going, I would have gone with you. No, I'm doing well. Doing really well. Very excited to be recording this episode. Excited for how different it's going to be, but hoping it's going to be a really good time. We were just reminiscing on our official return from almost a year ago, which is crazy. We've been pretty consistent since that point. You know, a couple breaks here and there, and trying to find our footing still of what our episodes actually looked like. But I feel like now we're in a really good place. Our lighting's a little better as well. So I'm very happy to be here.
Gearing up for Agatha this time last year.
Well, we were gearing up for Agatha.
It was like a month and a half away, but still.
Oh gosh, trying to fill the gaps.
Yeah, exactly.
We did an episode on Trap just to let you know how bad we were trying to fill the gaps. We did an episode.
Dude, our Trap episode was great. I don't know if you guys remember this, but we finished recording that and we said that was one of the most fun episodes that we had ever done. And I genuinely think that, I mean, that was also one of our first times kind of divulging into a non-bigger, larger release movie and doing just whatever. You're going the wrong way, Aiden, by the way. Oh. Other side. Yeah, but this was a year ago. I guess by the time this episode is out, it will be a little over a year ago, July 30th of last year, that we had made our big return. And now we've posted 50 episodes since then. We've literally done as many episodes since a year ago as we did up to that point, which was 2 years?
Yeah,
2 years.
At that point or something like that.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
A great point.
Yeah. So I'm doing great. Very happy because I know we talked about how big summer movie releases were and that Fantastic Four was capping off this just amazing month. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think the momentum stops. And it's more low-key releases. We have Weapons, the horror movie Together, and then I'm excited for Nobody 2. Even Ninja 2, as much as we trash on Aiden, I'm excited. I can't lie. I'm excited to check it out and give it a fair shot and everything. So for me, I don't know. I feel like there's more momentum than I originally realized towards the end of the summer movie season. So very happy about that. And yeah, just very glad to be here. I think it's going to get a little heated later, but for now I'm in a good mood.
Okay. A little tease of maybe what his topic is gonna touch on. But Aiden, what have we been up to the past couple days, brother?
Working, studying, same old shebang.
Talk about a real nerd.
It was funny. Yeah, seriously. Words from the nerds. It's funny. I hope none of my coworkers or my boss is listening to this, but I wanted so badly to call in today because I closed last night. So I got off at 9:30 last night, went in at 5:30 this morning. But then I also started to hang out with my wife, cook dinner, eat dinner. So I ended up getting 4.5 hours of just the worst sleep. And I so badly wanted to call in. I texted my boss. I was like, is there any way I can come in late? And she was like, I can't really do that because then that sets a precedent that everybody else. But I was like, can you make an exception for me? I literally was there till not I got off and had less than 8 hours of sleep. It's already scheduled for me. Can there not be an exception? But I couldn't call in because they were.
Keep going.
What?
Keep going. Sorry. Keep going.
If you were gonna ask if there's a rule about it, our rule is our rule is 11 hours at least. But
okay.
They don't be following that. I got another clope in, so I close tomorrow and then open again Thursday. So I got it back to back. So definitely ain't no laws around that. I'm being spoiled though. She did give me 4 days in a row off because we're going to Texas. So I was like, I'll do whatever. I don't care. Anyways, and so I really wanted to call in, but I felt like I couldn't do that to them because they were very short staffed, and I was like, I'm not just gonna call in for my selfish reasons. So I went in and actually had like one of my best shifts. It was just such a chill day. It was awesome, and so I was like, all right, cool. I got paid for this, and
dude, why wouldn't you want your coworkers to hear that?
Just saying that I was thinking about calling in and like just leaving.
Do you get
them
sick hours at this job?
I have 40 hours of sick pay. But well, here's why I really don't want them listening. If everything goes right, I'm not going to be there for the next like month and a half. So I'm trying to save up those sick time hours so that I can just like have my fair share of like, hey, throw me some hours here, throw me some hours there. I'm about to leave, but we'll see. Maybe things just don't go right and I am stuck there, but whatever. Other than that,
in which case you really love your job and your boss.
I love it. And what's studying? I'm studying for the podcast as far as I know.
Studying the employee handbook.
That's what
all the manuals.
To be a better employee. That's as far as I know. But yeah, just got back from watching Summer Wars, animated movie from 2009. I actually didn't tell Brandon my score. A couple of his friends were there, and so they had talked a majority, and I was just kind of soaking in. They got a deeper ball knowledge of anime and video game stuff than I do, so I was just taking in the information. 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was good. It was good. I had a good time. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I've watched. I haven't watched anything since we last spoke, and so yeah, I'm ready to get into this. I told y'all before we started recording, there obviously is room for debate any branches of any questions we have, but I feel like mine is very, very much a fun question. I just hope it's a good one. I told Ben about the one that I had that I ended up scrapping, and because it was just going to be I guess, and that's it. And so hoping
Aiden and I talked about it was like a 2-minute little comment.
We literally talked about it, and I was like, okay, cool, that's how that would have gone. Question I brought today, hope it's great.
I'm excited to get into it. As for me, myself, nothing much other than Prison Break. It's only been a couple days anyway, so I've just been touching on a little bit more Prison Break here and there. I need to get back on my YouTube video, but it's slowly inch by inch. I'm pretty much done recording. I'm scripting right now, so editing will come soon, and then there will be another one up and ready to go. As for housekeeping, normally we would cover any comments or fan mail that we got, but since our last episode was at the time of recording literally uploaded yesterday, there is a decent amount of views on it. Thank you for those of you who watched all of that, listened to all of that, whatever you did. If you liked it, there's 2 likes on it right now as well. Thank you. We sincerely appreciate it, but there are no comments on it, so we will not be reading any aloud at this time. Maybe next time, hopefully. Please talk about Ben and how he's wearing a Marvel shirt and a DC hat, please, and talk about how he's a fake fan of both.
Sorry.
That'd be great.
I'm just all about diversity over here.
But time for the topic of the show.
Look at us.
And in this very illustrious episode, this very first time episode, which hopefully there will be many more afterwards, we are officially opening the Nerd Court. Is that what we called it? The Nerd Court.
I don't know. Let's go for it. I like it.
I guess
we are opening the Nerd Court, where not one, not two, but all 3 of us have brought a singular question to the debate stage today for us all to sit and ponder with, discuss, argue about, whatever the situation calls for. But of course, how are we going to determine who gets to go first in this wonderful debate?
Where's she at? Bring her back on the pod.
As Aiden gloriously mentioned before we started recording, I can't believe I forgot about it, but our wonderful wheel, our wheel of names that we always refer to for any sort of draft or anything. But I hope it's me because as I said before we started recording, but it turns out that that's probably not going to be true. I do not have a backup question if somebody's question is before mine. So this wheel does like to pick me typically. So we'll see what happens. But all right, here we go.
All right.
Audio listeners,
wheel spinning.
and it landed on Aiden. Aiden
I thought it was
is
going to be me for a second.
Aiden will be dropping the first question of today's episode. And who will be going directly after him? The wheel spins again, and it will be, oh my gosh. Oh, just barely me.
Yes.
Oh, that makes me.
I was actually so hoping to go last. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie.
What? Why?
Really
okay,
nice.
that's interesting.
Only for the reason that I think I might have a bit of a controversial one. So I think, things might escalate. And it might be
okay, so you want us to
most
bake with
heated
yours for a
discussion.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
So
I'll
Aiden,
start us
take
off.
us, take us away, man. I'm host.
Yeah,
let me introduce you.
well,
All right.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Prosecutor Aiden about to make his
Yes.
his
we need a
accusation.
gavel. Doom, doom, doom. If I can come up to the court, to the plaintiff. I don't know what I'm saying.
State it very clear and loudly for everybody so we can easily clip farm it. Okay?
Shout out everyone who's here from the clips.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. So I'll try not to get too long-winded on this. Here's all I would say. What I was gonna say earlier is I'm glad I get to go first because, like I said, this is more of a lighthearted, something we can have fun with. Imagine production timelines, directors being busy with other projects. Imagine all of that is out of the window, right? Doomsday and Secret Wars are delayed by 2 years. You are Kevin Feige, and you are given 2 projects in between now and Doomsday that you can put out to better build up towards Doomsday, because as we all have talked about in the past, we feel like there could be more. Ben, I know you made the comparison to Infinity War, but obviously there could be more there. What 2 projects, again, production time, directors, occupations, what 2 projects, and I say projects, movies or shows, would you put in between now and Doomsday in order to make that build up hit a little bit better?
Including, so Spider-Man's still where it is.
Yeah, Spider-Man's still where it is. You can move it around. It's just, you can put 2 projects before, 2 projects after. You have 2 projects. What are those projects that you are putting out to make the build up to Doomsday hit a little bit better? And if y'all need time, I can pause the recording, but
So just to be clear, we're under the assumption that Spider-Man at one point was going to be after Doomsday, and we know based on the rumors that Tom Holland isn't going to be prominent in Doomsday, but will more so be in Secret Wars. So we're kind of eliminating Spider-Man from the conversation.
Yes, okay. Because we can safely assume it won't pertain too much to Doomsday.
Okay. I know my first answer. One very clearly came to the top of my mind. So we'll start with that and see where things go. I think a third Doctor Strange movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm right there with you.
That's strange. That's strange that both of you have that. I mean, you guys weren't haters of Multiverse of Madness, I would say, but you weren't enjoyers of it very much.
Well, so I almost disregard that entirely. I am completely forget how much I enjoy Multiverse of Madness. If my goal is to put in more projects in order to better establish where we get to Doomsday, Doctor Strange 3. Doesn't matter, even if his first film sucked and Multiverse of Madness sucked. I think his character, his involvement in Infinity War, and even just the things that were set up kind of at the end of, I think it was the post-credit scene for Doctor Strange 3. Yeah. Like that's a potential setup and an avenue that you could go down that could lead us into Doomsday. So it really has nothing to do with Multiverse of Madness. Just don't let
with the
Sam
exception
Raimi
of
direct
the Clea stuff. Wait, what did you just say?
Don't let Sam Raimi direct it.
Oh my gosh.
No, but
listen, Michael Waldron's writing on Doomsday. All right, let's calm down.
I know. But just the the utilization of different universes, even having you had a Reed Richards from a different universe in the movie. So the multiversal idea that we're clearly going to go into with Doomsday, Multiverse of Madness, is one of the clearest examples that we've had of that so far. So I feel like just as a logical continuation of how we can set some of those things up for Doomsday, Doctor Strange 3. It just
dang, bro, like 2 Doctor Strange movies in a row where some legacy X-Men characters show back up. That'd be crazy.
And I'm not advocating for that specifically.
Sure. But I only mention it because there's going to be those characters in Doomsday as well, as we know.
Absolutely.
Do you have your second project, Ben, or should we go to Charlie's?
Hold on. Yeah, me project? For no. In case, because he might have this. He might have this, so I want to make sure that
So yeah, please
go
ahead.
Okay. All right. I'd say a second Shang-Chi movie, because now that he is present, he's dealt with his family stuff, and we have the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi, which, as we know, has not had any sort of resolution or even another tease since that moment. That could easily tie into whatever Doom has going on, if he's searching for more power, yada, 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 that sort of thing. It could easily implement other characters from the MCU, i.e., Sam Wilson, Captain America, trying to build the new Avengers, not the new Avengers, but the next Avengers, and having that all blend together much better. It could just that could probably even just be a post-credit scene. Sam Wilson shows up and starts talking to, like, Nick Fury style at the end of Iron Man 1. But I think that for a character we all loved so much back in 2021, we have not seen him in anything other than What If since. And actually, you know what I forgot? We still have Marvel Zombies that's coming out this year.
Like Eyes of Wakanda
Halloween time
pushed up very early, like
in
a couple days,
literally 2 days, for like Friday. So excited for that. On a side note, but Shang-Chi movie, maybe get Awkwafina out there, going out of here, you know. But have it focus on like his relationship with now Bruce Banner. You can have Carol show up. It might sound like a cameo fest the way I'm describing it, but I would rather describe it as like they're important to the plot of what's going on, whatever they found out about in the post-credit scene of the last movie. They all have roles to play in this movie. And I feel like that's also something that they haven't struggled with it in other movies. Like I point to Civil War, which is an Avengers movie that isn't an Avengers movie. Like that is looking at, and we talked about this on the last episode, looking at an interconnected universe so these characters can interact with each other in a way that isn't like a cameo fest, but actually like they contribute to each other, contribute to the plot in each of their individual ways. That's how I imagine this going. And that I think would work best for Doomsday and going into Doomsday. And I think that would honestly be amazing. If I don't know, Aiden, I know you mentioned directors and whatnot. I'd love to say Destin Daniel Cretton, but like obviously he's doing Spider-Man. He wouldn't be able to like jump right into it.
All of that out of the window. Like you get to have your pick of the litter. That doesn't matter at all. Just so that I can let y'all's imagination flow a little bit.
What if it does matter though? Like what if I actually say that in this ideal universe, I want the Russo brothers to also direct one of these movies, like they did Civil War leading to Infinity War.
We could even add a little rider on top of it. I would like to, Charlie. I love what you said about it. I know this sounds like a cameo fest. I love, and I wish I could find who left this comment on one of our shorts. Somebody, or maybe it was TikTok. I don't know. Somebody commented, I want these. Like these cameos shouldn't feel like cameos. They should feel like people, like these superheroes interacted with each other and in an established universe. Come to think of it, I might have seen that on someone else's video, whatever. I still really like that sentiment of this shouldn't feel like a cameo. This should feel like a character in a movie. I don't know if this is allowed. I want to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring too. My 2 projects that I was thinking about all day were a third Doctor Strange and a second Shang-Chi movie. So both of y'all had mine. I want to throw my hat in of a y'all are gonna clown me for this. This might sound silly. A Captain America Civil War Part 2-ish movie with Sam Wilson's new Avengers team. to help establish one of the only other teams that we haven't established a whole lot going into Doomsday, and that is Sam Wilson's Avengers. However that may be, you can just call it a Captain America movie and have it have a threat in there, but really focus on him being at his lowest, trying to get this new team together and how that happens, so that that first act of Doomsday isn't focused on making us care about that team and throwing that team together and spending a good amount of movie on Sam Wilson's Avengers team. So I'm just using the placeholder name as a, Avengers 4.5 or whatever, but Captain America Civil War in quotes part 2, or Captain America the next Avengers. I don't know. The Avengers,
Captain America, but good. Another good Captain America movie.
Yeah.
And as for who I want to direct it, obviously my mind immediately goes to Jake Schreier. Obviously, but that's cheap. But I mean, I'm gonna do it anyways, because this is my dream. This is my dream scenario. So yeah, give me a Jake Schreier Captain America.
Gosh, oh man, movie. You're making me feel something, Maiden. Ah, dude, I love Jake Schreier. That's like, oh my goodness, man.
All right, Ben, do you have your second project?
Fantastic movie.
I think I would just side.
It could be a TV show, movie, like I anything.
Loki season 3.
I think, well, because I was trying to go down the list and basically be like, okay, who's in the cast and would their movie help us get to the point of Doomsday? So you go like, could you do a Black Panther 3? It's like, yeah, but does that really aid us going into Doomsday? It made sense to do Black Panther before Infinity War because of the significance of Wakanda. But is there anything there that we still need to pull from Black Panther or those characters before we can get to Doomsday? Or, maybe Thor 5, bad idea.
Sure. But Taika Waititi, Thor 5. But I mean, even like for Wakanda, just to combat that real quick, just the studying of incursions, some new information. But again, we're making a movie here, so it's like can't just have a 30-minute movie of them, exposition dumping about Doomsday.
Sure, yeah. Another one that crossed my mind, actually this didn't really cross my mind, but this is like it's kind of on topic and kind of not. What I honestly wish had happened is I wish that 3 years ago we got a Fantastic Four movie that was their origin story and establishing the family, maybe a lower level villain threat, more about just learning about who they are as characters and their universe and whatnot. And then I wish we got this movie that we just got, First Steps, as a much more refined movie, more significance to Galactus and more significance to tying them into the future of the Marvel universe. Because what I really feel like is like this movie should have been 2. To summarize the thoughts, this movie should have been 2, and if we had gotten Fantastic Four, call it First Steps, and that's them actually like getting their superpowers, and then second steps is Galactus and Franklin or whatever. I think that could have aided things a lot, and instead they announced it 6 years ago, and we're just now getting it, and it's like, oh, here are these characters, and by the way, Reed Richards is probably going to lead the Avengers. So that's like if I could go back and change things, I would have better established the Fantastic Four and had it better lead into where we're going with Doomsday.
Would you even go as far as, and again, all reality is out of the window here. So would you even go as far as saying that your 2 projects would be Strange 3 and a second Fantastic Four movie?
At this point, no.
Okay, cool.
I'm only saying, like, in hindsight, if we could have gotten a Fantastic Four a few years ago and then gotten this new Fantastic Four movie, gotten First Steps as a better, more refined way where they're already established and we can better set them up for what's going to happen in Doomsday after knowing these characters and being used to them for years, would have been so much better. So that's more of a hindsight thing. As for the 2 projects, I'm on board with Doctor Strange 3 and Shang-Chi 2. Shang-Chi 2 is also just kind of personal preference. It's like, if you're going to pick a sequel for any of the big characters that we know are going to show up in Doomsday, I'd take a Shang-Chi 2 over a Thor 5, a Captain America 5, a Black Panther 3, I'd take it over all of those. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Charles?
I'm in agreement. Like I would also like a Doctor Strange movie as well. But to give my own answer, truthfully, I'm not huge. I'm not huge, I should say. I am huge on it. Old X-Men characters in Doomsday, like it's cool to see.
I
It's
was thinking
crazy.
about that, yeah.
It's crazy. Like it's wild to see like Patrick Stewart's name on there. Everything like even James Marsden. That was a shock when we were reading the chair names. Like I did not think they would do that.
Yeah.
But an X-Men movie. Treat it like a Fantastic Four cross Guardians of the Galaxy type thing. Not by Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't mean like in space or anything like that, but just in terms of building another set of heroes that is off in a different part of not the galaxy, but a different dimension. Like that's why I say like Fantastic Four. Excuse me.
That boy's getting giddy.
Like Fantastic Four, but build us this X-Men team. And the thing that I think is hard about it is like comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy, building a whole separate team that had nothing to do with the Avengers, was never even referenced at all, other than to the Terrans on Earth. And then I think there's some flashback scenes in Guardians 2, but they had 2 movies before they merged with the Avengers in Infinity War, right? So with the kind of time frame that we have with this hypothetical, that wouldn't be possible. But still, these are characters that the wider audience can care about, like they know about, they're knowledgeable about, and just making us, like Jake Schreier is going to do, hopefully, making us care about each and every member and how and their complexities, their tragedies, and they're trying to find their place in this world, and like how that can get upended so easily with everything that's happening with this multiversal stuff. Or maybe make their world, since they're on a different Earth, make their world like them, and then when whatever happens in Doomsday, then that can set up like if their Earth gets destroyed and they have to join 616 MCU, and then they all hate them, like then that could set up like a whole different thing, And so I think just for shits and gigs, like that'd be fun. Like that would be a fun thing to do. I guess for the grand scheme of like tying it into Doomsday, it would just be Doomsday would be the cross section of the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers all like merging together. Which that is what's happening, but now it's with how it's currently set up, it's the old OG X-Men crossing over with all of that. So I guess my proposition is just a new age of X-Men.
Yeah, I like that answer. For my second project, I'll give mine. Y'all are gonna hate this. I just thought of it right now. Y'all are gonna absolutely hate this. Maybe y'all like it. We'll see. Afterwards, I'll kind of recap the question. Y'all can give your 2 movies and what director, and we can kind of just, for anyone listening and for clip form, they can just get a refresher. My second project, aside from my Captain America project, would be a West Coast Avengers, or not West Coast. We'll call the champions, like the young Avengers.
The young Avengers.
A young.
I actually thought about this. I almost said this one.
No. Get out of here. Let's stop.
Hold on. I'll let Aiden cook before I speak up. Sorry.
A Young Avengers TV show directed by the Duffer Brothers.
Okay, now we're being satirical.
Sit on it.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
Hey, all right. He's
Come
gonna
on,
let
man.
me watch. Look what,
No.
Dude, how does?
I don't know. I just immediately.
I was
just like, let me see who's a good director that's like hooked up some like sci-fi shows with kids in them. I was like, Duffer Brothers, let's go for it.
And like that's my thing is like Stranger Things.
Show.
I like Stranger Things, but I'm not huge on it. So like that's why I like.
Yeah, I did that one more so to piss y'all off. But yes, real talk though, a Young Avengers TV show. And how does that pertain in? I mean, that's more Avengers, that's more bodies that you can, and if not Doomsday, Secret Wars. Like, I hate to keep calling back to it, but we saw the concept art leagues, and also there are there are at least 4 characters in there, whether you like them or not. And Ben, you were talking about this last week about why do we have to reboot? Why not just like refine the storylines? There are 4 characters in there that people just don't really talk about or don't really care about because they're not finished. And that is maybe not so much Kamala Khan, but Kamala Khan, Cassie Lang, Wiccan / Speed, and Kate Bishop. I mean, there is your fix for that right there. And then if you have them in a Doomsday or Secret Wars movie, they're already established. It's not like you're throwing together a bunch of kids. I think a Young Avengers TV show would absolutely cook.
No. I mean, like, I'm fine.
Give me your reasoning.
I'm fine if they're in Doomsday or if they're
Agatha so much. That's his reasoning. Bro hates Agatha.
I'm fine if they're in Doomsday or if they're in Secret Wars. Totally good with me. But if we're doing any sort of project, whether it's a movie or a television show, to try and bring characters together in preparation for Doomsday, it should be a Sam Wilson Avengers project of some kind.
Exactly.
Probably as a movie.
Yeah. That I agree. Young Avengers.
No, I don't like. It's pretty simple. Just no, like, because if we can go the route of Sam Wilson bringing characters together in preparation for Doomsday, why can't we get a Black Panther 3 that accomplishes the same task? Or even in Shang-Chi 2, why can we not have that bring more significant characters that are going to be bigger characters in Doomsday and Secret Wars, bring them together, like Charlie was talking about with the potential of a Shang-Chi 2? Like, what?
Because
why would we put focus on these 4?
Because they all already have their own projects. Like, I mean, we've seen Kate Bishop be a secondary lead to someone in their TV show. We've seen Kamala Khan have her TV show. Cassie Lang was a third in her movie. Wiccan was a second lead in his TV show. I mean, we already. Bottom line is, all these characters, all these like places and characters you named, Wakanda, Shang-Chi, already established. All of these other characters that might play a part in Doomsday aren't that established.
Okay, the things are established, but the whole thing we're trying to accomplish here is connecting them. Like, the goal of a Young Avengers movie is to bring these 4 established characters together. So I'm saying, why would we not take our other big established character, such as Shang-Chi, and throw in Black Panther, throw in Thor, whoever? Like, you have other options on the table. Bring them together in some sort of movie rather than, I don't know, wasting time on a Young Avenger. That's just
I don't think it's wasting time. And this, I feel like a little part of you is kind of contradicting not so much of what you said last episode, but I don't want to see these storylines just like go away. Like, no, stand on that and refine it and make us, refine these stories, which is fine. But because the couple words you're saying when you're like, why would I want to see that? I don't care about them. So then reboot the universe. Like, I mean, what do we? I get what you're saying. Connecting bigger characters and bigger established characters as big players in Doomsday. Like, I get your sentiment there. I guess my again, this is all going back to whenever I first started. I said Doctor Strange 3 and Shang-Chi 2. That was my definitive, like, those are my big hitters. If I could exchange any of those, I'd exchange one of those for a Captain America New Avengers movie. Bottom line, this one was more so like, hey, I just thought about this one right now, and I actually kind of like it. And so but yeah, my biggest thing was,
I like how Ben's saying no to this, bro, but like this one's actually happening. Like, this one, I mean, I don't know if it's coming out before Doomsday, but like the Champions TV show thing is happening. So
and watch it cook, and he's and we're in the future, we're gonna be watching it, and he's gonna be like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like.
I know we're gonna have another TikTok. Right hand of the man.
Listen, okay, at least I'm honest, and I am consistent. As much as you're bringing up stuff I said last week, my solution to what they should have done to fix some of their issues was that we shouldn't be in this place to begin with. We shouldn't have gotten these projects and all of these loose ends. But the solution is not to focus in even more on these things. By refining, I'm not saying we need a Young Avengers show. By refining, I'm fine with Put them in Doomsday. Put them in Secret Wars. You said more bodies. Yeah, more bodies for RDJ to off. Like that's where my head. Bring him in. Kill. We need a kill count on Doomsday. Okay, but like in all seriousness, like have them in these bigger projects. Even if they're doing a Champions TV show, fine. That's fine. Whatever. Okay, but all I'm saying when it comes to what I was specifically talking about last week and how I didn't enjoy the thing where we were at was not that like I hate all of these things and I never want to see them again, but we need a good way to refine them while they're doing this reboot. And so depending on their approach to that, whether that is like fully just ignoring things that they've set up, or if it's doing a Champions TV show, if I watch it and I'm happy with it and it makes me fall in love with some of these characters, you guys know I'm there. I'll admit it. I want the content to be good. But when we're sitting here with bad content that has all of these trails that have been left off, I'm not satisfied. And of course, I don't want any more to do with any of it. Of course not.
Yeah.
You can say both of those things can be true where you don't want it, but then if you get it and it's good, you like it.
That's extremely based to Ben is what we like to call him.
Thank you.
Here sometimes.
All the time.
All right, cool. Just a recap. If you were given 2 projects I can't do it with a straight face, bro. I'm like, if I know I'm intentionally doing it, I can't do it with a straight face. Just to recap, if you're given 2 projects and Doomsday is delayed 2 years and you have to fill that gap with these 2 projects in order to better build up to these Avengers movies, what 2 projects are you picking? Ben, what were your picks?
I'm going to go with Doctor Strange 3. And I don't really have a director in mind for that. And then
anyone but Sam Raimi.
Anyone but Sam Raimi. Yeah, keep him away. And then honestly, I'll go Shang-Chi 3 directed by the Russo brothers.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Shang-Chi 2 directed by the Russo brothers.
Shang-Chi 2,
yeah. We got a second Shang-Chi movie. I didn't know.
Hey man, why are you going 3? Charlie's picks.
My 2 picks would have to be a Shang-Chi 2 directed by Jake Schreier.
I knew it.
I think he would dive so deep into that. Only thing I'd worry about is the fight sequences. They wouldn't be as great. Gosh, I can't wait for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And my second pick would be the X-Men movie that I mentioned with a new X-Men, a whole new X-Men, nothing tying it to the OG cast or anything like that, to merge them into Doomsday instead of the cameo fest of, I'm sure it won't be a cameo fest. I'm sure they're going to be involved in the plot, yada, yada, yada. But just for the sake of jokes, the cameo fest that's going to happen in Doomsday, an X-Men movie directed by
Jake Schreier also.
Yeah, just put that man to work, bro. Put that man to work. I almost said Sam Raimi. No, I'll do Russo Brothers as well. I'll do Russo Brothers as well.
I want to change my director picks.
You can't use Jake Schreier. You better not touch my boy. Yeah.
I'll go Doctor Strange 3 directed by Christopher Nolan. And then I will
never in a million years would that ever. That is a crazy hypothetical world.
I get to pick, bro.
Living on an alternate universe that is 10,000 light years away.
I'm with Ben right here.
I'm not against it, but he would never do that.
And then Shang-Chi 2 directed by Chad Stahelski, who's at the helm of the entire John Wick franchise.
This is the MCU right here.
Give me that.
And Charlie, your project and director was X-Men with Russo.
Yeah, X-Men with Russo brothers directing a brand new X-Men movie, nothing tying it to the OG, and also Shang-Chi 2 directed by Jake Schreier. Oh my God, or Schreier, however you say it.
Awesome. Yeah. And then my 2 picks would be Captain America, New Avengers, directed by Jake Schreier. Come on, man. I'm a big Jake Schreier fans over here. And a Young Avengers TV show directed by Sean Levy. Come on, man. Let me piss some people off.
Okay,
Let me piss some people off. Oh, I can't wait.
Wow.
Oh, they're gonna hate me. Oh, they're
Wow.
gonna hate me. I can't wait. All right, cool. Well, that was.
I think
my
Deadpool
question.
Wolverine is still loved by a lot of people.
Uh,
Not me. Not me. Not me.
yeah, I
but-
know, but yeah, we yeah.
Yeah, okay. This guy, bro. Okay.
Not
On
the smartest
to-
people. It's directed by loved by not.
I think Ben's one of those people. I think Ben is one of those people.
Sorry, I'm not
I mean,
a shill who just
point
rides the high and then changes his opinion on a whim.
Yeah, you're just a shill who just rides the high for no matter what, even if it's bad. So that's fine. That's fine. That's why you like Fantastic Four so much.
Shots fired!
We gave it the same rating. We actually gave it the same rating.
Yeah, we did. We did. Which maybe I should lower mine because I definitely levied more harsh criticisms.
No, this man was sitting here talking to me on TikTok afterwards, like, bro, yeah, you're cooking, bro. Yeah, all your criticism is extremely valid. I was like, yeah, cool, bro. Where was all that when we were recording? And
Bro, I was on your side the entire time. What are you talking about? I never even went against anything you said. I never. Oh, well, no, actually, that's not true.
Because you said
one thing.
The family
You said one
stuff
thing.
is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it was because it was great. I don't know. You're tripping on that. You were tripping on that.
When I mean family stuff, it's like I want some more Reed and Ben. I want some more Johnny and Reed. I want some more Johnny and Sue, like we were promised in the trailers. That's the family stuff. Individual stuff, perfect, cooking on all cylinders except for the Thing.
Sure.
Reed and Sue, perfect, cooking, like 10 out of 10. Ben and Johnny could have been better, but still amazing work. Family aspect, though, that's what I mean. Anyways, we don't have to talk about Fantastic Four.
Let's break it up. Watch last week's episode.
Yeah. Charlie, your
yes, on to my nerd court question.
Oh wait, you have to hit your gong and you have to come up to the
What?
eyewitness.
Does that come up on the mic? I don't know.
Speak loud and clear to the plaintiff, sir.
So my question for you, glorious gentlemen. Do you think the MCU still needs to be saved? Why or why not?
Yes, I 1,000% think so.
Okay, let's hear. Why do you think the MCU still needs saving?
Yeah, I mean it goes.
Why do we still, after every project, say we're so back or we're not back?
So this really doesn't have much to do with the quality of these past two movies, because huge fan of both Thunderbolts, a big fan of Fantastic Four. Like these are good movies that we're getting. Ironheart was a good TV show. They are showing promise. Where I get hung up is something that James Gunn is doing right now better and has called Marvel out for indirectly in the past, which is I'm not greenlighting anything until a script is done and completed in my hand, because that's how we are going to operate things here, and that's how we are going to make sure that we get the highest quality of movie out and confident that we know that this is going to be a banger.
Well, firstly, I'm just going to push back on that right away, because I don't even know if that's 100% true. Because didn't they just announce that a Wonder Woman movie is in the works right now? And he's talking about over on Threads right now that he took the writer off of one movie that apparently has been canceled. Or no, it was Teen Titans. Took her off of writing Teen Titans, and now she's currently writing Wonder Woman. So if that's the script isn't done, why is there a Wonder Woman movie being confirmed to us right now?
It's the principle of that, not so much like gospel of James Gunn. It's the fact that he even has that idea in his head, and Doomsday is filming right now with not a finished script. And that's where my issue comes, is that the head of DC has that in his head, has that principle where he's like, yeah, we're going to fast track this Wonder Woman because like I'm cooking, I got plans. But the principle of this script needs to be finished and in my hand before we start shooting. We need to have at least a year from when we're done filming to when the movie comes out. And we've talked about how Fantastic Four maybe even navigated that a little bit better, like where you had where you had concerns where you were like, Superman has a year in production, Fantastic Four is not even finished filming. They come out a couple weeks apart. Sure, Fantastic Four navigated that however they did. Fine. Is that going to happen every single time? Is that going to happen with Doomsday that's still shooting right now with not a finished script? The fact that James Gunn is implementing those things right now and has said in the past, I think one of the biggest problems with superhero movies is that they don't finish a script before shooting and they just kind of pile it all together and kind of hit the beats that they want to hit and reshoot it together after and later on. That is the biggest problem that superhero movies are going through right now. So if the head of DC is saying that and has that sentiment, and its competitor is doing what it's doing right now, quality of movies, fine. Quality of movie aside, we just got 2 banger Marvel movies. But we have an Avengers movie that is going through what he thinks the problem of superhero movies is facing today. That's where I think the MCU needs to be saved. That's where I think the MCU needs to be better and needs to change if they want to have a competitive future with DC. I don't think it has anything to do with the movies, man. I mean,
The quality of the
I'm
movies,
not.
no?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sitting here after we got 2 of what some people think are some of the best Marvel movies ever. I still think they have a problem on their hands, and that is exactly everything that I just said, and what the head of DC says is the biggest problem with superhero movies nowadays. That's where I think they need saving.
Okay. Benjamin, what do you think? Does the MCU still need to be saved?
I think it depends on what you mean by saved, because I've thought about this a little bit more recently. Yeah, actually, if you want to, you can go ahead and answer that.
I specifically meant as in just quality of movie wise, because after every project, we have people saying we're so back, as if after every project, they're down in the dumps and bad. So we need a project to bring us back and say that we're so back. Whereas, like, no, that's getting into my side of things yet. So you go first, based off that information.
Yeah. I think the answer is yes and no. The reason why it's no is because I think Marvel can continue to operate how they have for the last 4 years, let's say, and they will still exist in the future and they will still have people lined up to watch their movies. Maybe not as many as they did during their peak era of kind of 2016 to 2019, let's say. But I still think that even if we have these same issues that we do with the quality of projects that have been coming out the last few years, I still think that there are plenty of shows that would pull in good viewership on Disney Plus for Marvel projects. And I still think there are movies that would do well in the box office for Marvel projects. Fantastic Four just did incredible, absolutely incredible at the box office. And I think we can expect the same from Spider-Man coming out next year. In fact, I think Spider-Man next year might be one of their more successful ones within this few year time stretch where they're not hitting $1 billion as much as they used to. Because I think they did with No Way Home and then Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's basically been it since Endgame. I think Spider-Man Brand New Day, Brave New, I think Brave New World. Spider-Man Brand New Day has the potential to be the most successful at the box office that they've had in years. So I think, like, in the hypothetical world, I mean, call it likely if you want to, where Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are not up to the level that we are hoping and they do not meet our expectations and we are disappointed in what we get, I think we will still be there for the next MCU project regardless. I think that it would take, I don't even know, 5 more years, 10 more years of getting consistently disappointed time after time with Marvel where we wouldn't say, you know what, I'll give this next Marvel movie a chance in hopes that they are able to bring it back to what we're used to.
And
So
I'd say massively disappointing. It'd have to be like 10 Quantum Manias back to back to back.
Sure,
You know?
yeah. So that's why I say it depends on what you mean, because in that sense, like, no, they don't need saved, because I think all of us are going to be there no matter what for years and years to come. For years and years, we will still be seated opening weekend, wanting to be there with a full theater of people. I think Marvel's momentum and dominance is way too big for that to stop anytime soon. But on the other side, I would say
For
that
the
the answer,
quality.
yes. But on the other side, the answer is yes. I do think that they need saved, in the sense of, I actually agree with Aiden here, their approach to projects and the fact that we've had all of these movies that have been confirmed. Think about the Blade movie and how much of a mess that has been. And Kevin Feige just now telling us, what, it's been 4 or 5 years since that announcement. I think it was around this.
2019. It was 2019.
It was the same time as Fantastic Four. And now we're getting confirmation that they have a direction for the tone of the film.
Well, I thought he said it's in pre-production, like 2026 it'll start filming.
Oh, I didn't see him say that. I only saw him see what I only saw what Ben said.
Yeah, because the thing that James Gunn, like, I know, Charlie, you brought up a question of James Gunn like greenlighting a Wonder Woman film when he doesn't have a script. But what James Gunn said in an interview specifically is he said, we have a concept and an approach to how we're going to handle the character. So we're working on the script and we're like, we know the direction. So we're going with it. And that's actually the exact thing that he said about why he decided to direct Superman. Because at first, when he was approached about directing it, he said, I don't know if I have a good take on Superman where I want to put myself at the helm. But as soon as he cracked the code and said, I know how I want to tackle this film. I know the story I want to tell. I know who I want this character to be. I know what I'm going for. That's when he decided to write and direct the movie. And so I do think that approach is what is going to make DC successful and maybe hurt DC, which is a topic for another day. I actually almost made this my question for this episode. Maybe we'll get into it another time. But at least at this point, I think it's what will make DC way more successful than even the MCU was in its early days, in phase 1 and whatnot. I think DC is going to soar pretty far above that, quality-wise, box office-wise, everything-wise. So in that regard, yeah, I think the MCU does need saved, because all of these things that are, like, even Kevin Feige admitting of being stretched thin and too many projects coming out and all of these things, it's like, how did they ever let it get out of hand like that? That's kind of a massive thing to just like to be in a flow state and then to kind of let that river just continue going, but then all of a sudden you're not ahead of the current. I don't know how you lose control of a ship like that. So really, that's the way I think it needs saved, is we need to get back to the time where we had that focus, where we were locked in, we were reined in on this storyline, and them doing way too much, I think, is what has caused the biggest issues with that. This almost ties into our discussion last week of if they should reset the timeline, because, that kind of ties into how they could maybe fix some of the problems.
I'll just say the article I saw came from Daniel RPK, so take that as you will. It was his report. Screen Time reported it and said that Blade will start filming in 2026. But again, it's just a leak. It's just taken as a leak so far. So
with a half finished,
take that as you will. Yeah, I mean, the script won't be finished until we're in the theater watching it. That's
yeah.
They're gonna be shooting it as we're watching it.
Live stream. All right, next scene.
As for me myself, I do agree from the conception and from the crew and backstage behind the scenes sort of aspect. Yes, I think the MCU needs help, is on life support in that sort of way, because like that is not a way that things should be done. Like that, I 1000% agree. And as Aiden mentioned, I criticized the hell out of them for that last year when Fantastic Four started shooting as Superman was finishing. Even though I think my biggest complaint from that was the CGI, and I do think that turned out okay. But playing by the seat of your pants like that is not a way to strive for success. And ideally, why I say that the MCU does not need to be saved anymore is because of, I think that they are changing their ways. Now, I know it's crazy to say that when we're talking about Doomsday, having the script still being written as we speak, as they're filming it. But I mean, we look at the difference in how the projects have evolved even from just the 2021 days of the quantity over quality thing. And granted, I've always been sort of on the side of the MCU in this sort of way when people are critiquing it and how bad the projects are. Because I think we still got gems every now and then. I think, and obviously it's all subjective, it's all a matter of personal opinion. But I mean, we still got things like Shang-Chi. We in the same year that we got Black Widow, Eternals, and I guess Falcon and Winter Soldier, if you guys don't like that. We got a Loki season 1. We got a Shang-Chi. We got a No Way Home.
This guy hates Loki season 1. What are you talking about?
Okay, sure. Hold on.
Now,
I didn't. Hold on. No. If you remember,
he listed Falcon and Winter Soldier, so he was,
yeah. If you remember, I said that I just didn't like. I think there was like episode 2 or 3 that I just really didn't like, and it was my favorite show that year. I think of all of the shows that came out.
Continue.
Actually, no. WandaVision was pretty good too. But anyway, like. I've always likened it to the earlier phases. I mean, there were not heaters every project was not a heater in all of the early phases, man. I mean, we had, sure, there's a lot of great stuff in Captain America 1, but it wasn't looked at very fondly back then. It wasn't, people didn't look at it in a bad way, but it was just, it was like an all right sort of thing, which a lot of people are looking at Fantastic Four like that right now. I'd say it's similar to that sort of situation. But then we do have heaters like, Captain America and the Winter Soldier back then, right? And Thunderbolt's pretty damn good, man. I'm not going to say it's on that level, but it's pretty damn good, And granted, that's just talking about this year. A lot of people have their thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. I very much do. I very much have my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. I loved it when it was happening. Looking back on it, revisionist history, not so great. Not the best. Ben, he still glazes it. He's still bouncing on that thing. But that's okay. That's all right. We can all love what we love, right? But as for like some of the bad, like, dude, we got Thor the Dark World in phase 2, and now we got Quantumania in phase 5. All right? Like, we gotta understand that these things happen, right? Now, I agree that there was a quantity over quality problem. 100%. I think that now we're finally at the stage after Captain America, and this remains to be seen. I'm kind of saying this is a leap of faith to say this, if you will. It's a leap of faith, Miles. But we have to find out when Spider-Man comes out, when Doomsday comes out. That's where we're really gonna find out if these changes have mattered. Now, also, I think that we're seeing that in the TV show. Look at the TV shows, Look at Daredevil Born Again. They completely rehauled that thing because it was going to be so bad. They knew it was going to be so bad. And still, even saying that, it still didn't even quite reach the peaks of the original show, with the exception of, I think I put Daredevil Born Again over season 2 of the show. Or no, I think I put it under. No, I put it under still. I think I still, because the Punisher. Yeah, because the Punisher stuff was really good in that season. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But just look at Daredevil Born Again and what they did with that and how they redid that. They're working on the Punisher thing also. That's coming out next year as well. As far as like, I don't know if that's technically a movie. It's a special presentation. So like kind of a TV movie. Let's say that. Movie, yeah, an hour movie. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see what that's like, And like, Loki season 2, man, I still think is one of the best things the MCU has ever put out. Like, at what point when we get Loki season 2s do we stop saying that the MCU is back after the first project that is not as great as Loki season 2 or not as great as Endgame? Like, there has to be a point in which we stop. And so I think we're at that stage. I personally think we're there. Sure, we still get what ifs. We still get, well, actually, we don't get what if anymore, thank goodness. But then we get the X-Men 97s, and hopefully X-Men 97 season 2, just as good. Yep. I don't know what you put that face away, Ben. You haven't even finished the season of X-Men 97, all right? Don't talk to me, buddy.
Literally, like right underneath Loki season 2 as like
dude. It is so good.
I'm not having that facial expression because of X-Men 97.
What? Because of what if?
I'm having that facial expression at the idea that we can say we are now at the point of being back and everything is better and fixed. I don't think that's true.
Really?
I thought people started saying that for Captain America, basically, because you had reshoots for Captain America. Last year, they decided to only release Deadpool and Wolverine, and all of us kind of thought, oh, they're not doing their typical 2 or 3 movies a year. They're pushing things back. They're doing reshoots
To refine them, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had Daredevil Born Again and we had Captain America come out around the same time. And both of those went through a creative overhaul with reshoots. One of them turned out good because of that, and one of them didn't. Like, that's just the truth. Like,
sure.
So I don't believe that we're at that point. And even looking ahead to some of the other projects that we're getting, like TV shows, Ironheart was not great. It was fine. It was not great. Wonder Man that comes out later this year, I have no excitement for personally.
Sure. I mean, I would say very excited. It's crazy. Very excited. It's crazy.
I mean, I love
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I love Yaya as well. But I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. I would say, as for what you're talking about with Captain America, I think that goes back to what we're talking about, all the behind the scenes problems, where like flying by the seat of their pants doesn't always work out. Captain America being one of them. And Daredevil worked out, but barely. Like, it's really not like that good. It's good, but it's not that good. So like Thunderbolts, I think, got the time to breathe and do what it needed to do. Fantastic Four had the year to shoot whatever and then do post-production, still flying by the seat of their pants, but not as much as doing 100 different reshoots for Captain America and completely reshooting the entire show of Daredevil, right?
But how can we, if all of this is true, how can we say we're at the point of being back when they don't have a finished script for Doomsday while they're filming? Then we're still not at that point.
Well, when we're just talking about the quality of, when I'm just talking about the quality of movies, obviously, like I said, I'm putting a hope and a prayer out there, you know, that Doomsday is good. I have my apprehension. I think of all three of us, I think I have the most to say about how Doomsday is going to be potentially garbage. But if it's not, like, I don't know. I think that the MC, like, there has to, I'm going to go back to it. When do we stop? When do we stop saying the MCU's back? Because I guarantee you we're going to see that with Doomsday. And as for the point that you brought up, like, no matter what, our audiences are going to show up to see these movies, right? 100%. Maybe not as many, as you mentioned, not as many as they used to at their peak days. But even Aiden got blocked for saying on Twitter, he said, "Yeah, but you're still gonna be seated for that movie like a good little boy," and he's right. He's 100% right.
Fuck you, Hernandy.
he's right. I guarantee you they're going to be there. And as soon as that first trailer drops, there's going to be that couple of loud voices on Twitter that are talking about little tiny things that look bad about it. But that happens with every project, right? But the overall quality of the movies, I think, is in a really great place. It's in a really great place. It's the worst that we've had as of lately in the past 2 years. Now, granted, there was only, again, like you said, one movie last year. The worst that we've had is a Iron Man 3 level. An Iron Man 3 level movie, which I would classify the Brave New World as like an Iron Man 3 level, or like a Ant-Man level. No, Ant-Man 1 was pretty good. Ant-Man and the Wasp level. How about that? Ant-Man and the Wasp level. And so Ant-Man and the Wasp, nobody was saying the MCU's dead back then, right? That was right before Infinity War. So that's all anybody could talk about. But now we're right before. Oh yeah, right after. Thank you. It was right after Infinity War. So that's all anybody could talk about. And now we're after things like No Way Home, where they had the coming back of two fantastic Spider-Men to merge with the current running Spider-Man, and something like not Doomsday, Multiverse of Madness. That I know you talked about how they haven't had projects make over $1 billion lately, as many as they used to. Multiverse of Madness still made like 800 million. It got pretty close.
Yeah.
They still had some heaters in there, right? And now we're getting into box office numbers, but as just for quality of films, and I like Multiverse of Madness. I think that they handled I think they handled some character arcs really, really well in that movie. And so I think, if I'm really honest about where all of the water gets muddied here, it's with the TV shows. outburst of projects and trying to work on so many different things at once, that has hindered their ability to really hone in on their quality, which is why, like, you get the first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, which have a really creative, distinct style and are really cool. And then it just falls off a cliff with not only the style, it's just completely gone and devoid of any individuality and any sort of uniqueness after that point. But also just the villains were so bad. Everything was just thrown in there at the very end. And then you get absolute garbage like Moon Knight, with the exception of episode 5. So, like, of course, bro. My point being is there's going to be bad things. I just think that I've been on this train this entire time since the bad times began in 2021. I've been on this train we're going to have bad projects. Yes. But I feel like we're letting these bad projects that are mostly TV shows wind up judging and affecting how we judge the entirety of where we're going with the main projects and the main ideas, Doomsday, Secret Wars, etc. So I think the MCU does not need to be saved. I think it's in the same state that it was in a phase 2 and 3 environment. Enough said.
I want to answer your question, which is, you specifically said, when will we say that the MCU is back? Because people go back and forth on a good project or a bad project.
When will we be done saying that it's back? When will we say it for the last time?
I was going to say that will never happen, because I think everybody who is currently a fan of the Marvel Universe, I don't know if we will ever have the same experience that we did for the peak years of the MCU. I think that's gone.
I disagree. Oof. I think
so. You don't think we're gonna feel what? Sorry, I'll let you go, Aiden. But you don't think we're gonna feel what we felt in Infinity War and Endgame?
Not even specifically Infinity War and Endgame. I'm talking about the era of 2016 to 2019, where those 3 Marvel movies.
Because Captain Marvel was so great. I got his ass. I got his ass.
Where those 3 Marvel movies that came out every single year, regardless of if one turned out to be good or bad, you were dang excited to sit down in a theater and watch a movie. That even lingered past 2019 until we realized what era we were in. Literally for Shang-Chi, I remember the Marvel credits started playing and my theater was clapping. We were happy to just be watching a Marvel film. Watching Fantastic Four, there was no cheering. There was no nothing. Like,
my entire audience.
My second showing, my second showing, they clapped at the end.
Okay, I've gotten claps.
That's anecdotal, but sure.
Yeah. I've gotten claps at the end. That's totally fine. But I'm saying the pure excitement that I personally, and maybe I'm just projecting my own emotions here, but that I used to have every single time I was sitting down to watch a Marvel movie is unmatched nowadays by anything. Like I was talking to John about this because I think I don't know if I was just like really going through it because I go see a lot of movies and I just told him, I was just like, I just don't have the same excitement that I used to for films. I just remember like back in the day, any Marvel movie, any Star Wars movie, even though those turned out to be trash, there was just a certain joy and excitement to be sitting down and watching a franchise that I loved. I don't have that anymore with Marvel. Like I can be excited.
I gotta say that's a crazy take. And I feel like that's just a you thing. Yeah. Truthfully, maybe you're letting the world sour you, Benjamin, because dude, before Fantastic Four, like Aiden, we were in the group chat. We were like, yo, bro, I need this in my veins right now. You weren't feeling that? Like you didn't feel that at all?
I do. No, I am there. Absolutely. And I was there for Superman, for specific projects. Absolutely. I'm 100% in. I'm sitting there. I'm excited. Absolutely. But I don't think that, I think that's now more on a project by project basis. And what I mean by that is like, even though, sometimes we got the Captain Marvel, sometimes we got the Ant-Man and the Wasp amidst the Infinity War and the Endgames, for me still, sitting down to watch a Marvel movie meant something. And now I am much more take a step back. It doesn't matter that it's a Marvel movie. It doesn't matter that it's in the MCU. I'm judging it just for what it is, and my excitement is very much dependent upon the project. Like, I was not super excited going into Captain America. That's just true. Or
do you think
Ant-Man Quantumania.
Do you think a part of that has to do with a lack of franchise or a lack of connectivity?
That could be part of it.
You don't have something to build towards. It's just like its own movie there in that moment, because Brave New World is very much its own movie there in that moment. You got to watch it to understand Doomsday, but like, I don't know, whereas Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, those were always the, hey, this is the calm before the storm. Here we go. Here's the building blocks. Like, do you think that has something to do with it? Because 2016 to 2019, we were building up to, our next two big Avengers movies, whether we knew what those were or not.
But also no. Like, yes, but no. I'm doing a Marvel rewatch right now. We just finished Thor Ragnarok, which is the last movie in 2017. Spider-Man Homecoming. Other than, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, and Peter Parker have a relationship in that movie. Yeah, that's important. Other than that, there's not a huge connecting through line with what happens in the grander story. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, also no. Thor Ragnarok, only the part at the very end leading into Infinity War. You literally, here's a good way to put it. If you cut out the end of Ragnarok where Thanos pulls up, Ragnarok has zero connection and doesn't need to for anything else that's happening in the grander story. Yeah, they use it and more stuff does happen after the fact, but it's not like a Civil War. Civil War is crucial. Thor Ragnarok could have been any story and still gotten to that point.
So then give me 3 examples of whenever you just took it as like I'm here for a Marvel movie. What if that, like, recently?
You're saying that I was actually excited because it's a Marvel movie, or that I was judging it differently nowadays?
That you were just judging it differently because, give me examples of those.
Captain America, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Marvels, Eternals, Black Widow.
I mean, hold those up against an OG Avenger, a Spider-Man, like,
Eternals.
I don't know.
Is that what you said?
I was not excited to sit down and watch Eternals. I was not on the hype train
directly after Shang-Chi, literally 2 months after, where your
theater
was excited.
That is my exact point, is that I was excited, I used to be, for every single Marvel movie. Sitting down, there was just a certain level of love for the franchise that I was really excited to watch whatever was about to be presented in front of me. But at some point, that left. And yeah, I would say Eternals and Black Widow were at that. Well, Black Widow, you can, for other reasons, it being a movie after Black Widow was dead and the weird timing of the release and whatnot. But even something like Eternals, I wasn't, that was the point where after the TV shows and whatnot, I wasn't.
But that's my point. It's like, why? Because up to that point, the only bad things that you could say, and as you just mentioned, was Black Widow and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. WandaVision, very highly revered the entire time up until the finale. And then you had Loki season 1. Really, you didn't like WandaVision?
WandaVision fell off at episode 6 for me.
Well, see, here's what I'm. But even then, though, it's OG 6, Spider-Man, a second Guardians of the Galaxy movie that's already established, compared to the Marvels, Eternals. Like, of course you wouldn't go in with that same level of excitement.
No, but Shang-Chi was amazing.
So, but that's what I mean. Exactly, if you had that feeling with Shang-Chi, then how do you go into the next movie, the very next one, so down in the dumps?
This is my point, is that it is no longer it's Marvel, I'm excited, I'm there for it. It is now a project by project basis determines my excitement.
But I guess I'm just trying to understand what if Shang-Chi, being the good movie that it was, and you were excited that it was a Marvel movie when the Marvel fanfare started up, and it was a good movie, why then for the very next project, before even another TV show comes out, were you oh, this is a Marvel project, but that's what I'm just struggling to, where was the turning point for that? is what I'm struggling to understand.
At some point in that year, I don't know, but like the whole thing that I'm trying to point out is that Shang-Chi was a very exciting movie, and I was absolutely there for it, and I was excited for it. And Eternals, like the whole thing that I'm saying is it no longer became a Marvel thing. I'm there for it. I'm excited. It became I'm judging this just based on the project. I was excited for Shang-Chi for outside reasons other than it just being a Marvel movie. Like, that's not the only reason to be excited for a project. And I've also been vocal. I wasn't super excited about Thunderbolts either. And I sat down and I watched it and I judged it fairly. But that's the whole point, is that I now go into a movie and it solely is based on what do I feel about the trailers? What do I feel about the director? It is no longer just based on, oh, I love this franchise. I can't wait to sit down and watch this movie. It used to just be inherent. It was built into the fact that I love the MCU. That love is now gone, and I love a project after I've seen it and know that I can love it. And it used to just be I love this franchise.
Do you think you've just gotten more critical of film in general, and maybe that's why, rather than having it be a knock on the actual MCU?
I think that could be the case, because I would lump Star Wars into that as well. I sat down for each of the sequels excited to just watch a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And in a room full of Star Wars fans. And yeah, we were all disappointed for most of those movies. I mean, Rogue One was great, but even now, like I think I said this on the pod, but I rewatched Revenge of the Sith when it re-released in theaters.
It's not good. Yeah.
And I hadn't watched it in like a decade. And like, yeah, I have an inherent love for Star Wars, but I viewed that film a lot more critically as a 22-year-old than I did as a 14-year-old the last time I watched it, however long it's been.
These kids are finally seeing the light, chat.
Oh my God. All right.
So I think that could be true, that it's just like my anticipation or excitement going into a movie now is not tied to a franchise, which is probably a good thing inherently, that I'm able to just kind of take a step back and judge it for what it is. But
I agree. I agree with that too. I agree with that.
But there are other cases where I think I still do. Like going into John Wick Chapter 4 for a recent example of an ongoing franchise.
Going into weapons, aside from the franchise aspect, like just going in excited for a movie. Because you said like it was films in general. Yeah.
It could be a director. You're just like, Christopher Nolan. Like we're seated for the Odyssey no matter what. We are excited for the Odyssey. Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we have our 70 millimeter IMAX tickets, right? So it's like those things can still be inherent. A Chris Nolan movie, inherently I'm excited. The next installment in the animated Spider-Verse trilogy, right? I'm excited for it.
2 years away.
I still think that inherent love for a franchise, I do have that for some things, but it's because those things are coming out currently, and those things are, at a certain
they've proven
quality.
themselves.
I would have said that I had that for Mission Impossible, and even going into the final one, I think we're all surprised how disappointing it was as a final movie in the franchise. I still had an excitement sitting down to watch a Mission Impossible movie. I would have less excitement on the next one.
Well, I think we know that. I think we've inherently kind of known that about you too, just based on things we've said in passing or like discussions we've had. And so I guess that's not too crazy of a take. It's more so that we're just honing more in on it now with this discussion.
And I want to point out also, just before you finish, Aiden, like I think that Aiden and I also like we view things critically as well. And like you I know you're not saying that we don't, but like we'll get stupid excited about a Fantastic Four project, come out and say that it's not what we wanted and we wish it was better. And Aiden rates it a little bit more harshly than I do. Like because of the things that it didn't have that we wanted and that it was too short, yada yada. Like we'll come at it from different angles. We just also have the moment of like nerding out about the potential of everything that this could be. And I agree that that's on a project by project basis, because like going into Captain America, like sure, yeah, I was excited because I like Falcon and the Winter Soldier so much, but now they've lost that with me. So
sure.
If they're attached to anything else, it'd be,
the feeling with Doomsday, I mean, it's gonna bring at least something, regardless of how you feel about the movie. It's gonna bring something out of somebody.
Hold on, Ben. Hold on. You just chose the Russo brothers to direct one of your fantasy movies in Aiden's thing. All right. So
you know my reason for that.
Because of
the only reason for that is because they're directing Doomsday and Secret Wars. That's it.
Oh. I thought it. What? Why would it? What? So it has no bearing on the fact that they did Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame.
Well, sure it does.
Okay,
but I think.
But he's back to like the electric state. Like he's like still in that.
When we heard that they were confirmed to be directing Doomsday and Secret Wars, we've been very critical of them directing these movies. So. Like, because the reality we were picking is we are getting a Doomsday and Secret Wars with the Russo brothers directing. Therefore, sure, have them direct a movie before that. In my reality, they wouldn't be attached to any of these projects. Keep them away, But I've if we're leaning into them for 2 more Avengers movies, then sure, give them another project.
And that's the hope that I dangle on, is that, like, despite Cherry being unbelievably mid to bad, the Electric State being unbelievably horrible, and the Gray Man being so mid.
They still made
exactly
Winter Soldier.
Like, all of the superhero stuff that they've done is good to absolutely great, right? So that's what I hold on to for Doomsday. That's what's going to make me excited going into it, among other things. But as for the directors themselves,
I think about Reed Richards fighting Nightcrawler, bro. Like, I think about Reed Richards and Sam Wilson or Joaquin Torres, or The Thing and Joaquin Torres sitting there talking, man. And like that's the type of shit that I hang up on. Like, okay, Ben, I know, Ben. Just let me, like, that's the thing, is I'm just opium. It's just all up in me. High moments aura. Yes, exactly. Good writing in a superhero show. Just show me characters interacting in the interconnected universe. I'm freaking there. All right. That's I want to be blindly. I want to be blindly hopeful. I went into Fantastic Four expectations way too high. I went into Superman expectations way too high. Came out a different feeling both of those times. But both of those movies, I was sitting there blowing up the group chat. Like, I'm not gonna rob myself of that experience and just be like, I mean, yeah, man, we'll see. I don't really care too much about like how this goes, but I'm in there buying the Thing cup for Charlie because I'm just like, things are going like, I'm like, spirits are up. Only thing I was gonna say, it's doesn't pertain to the conversation at all now, but I figured we'd wrap up. I think people will stop saying the MCU is back whenever we reboot. I mean, everybody is going to hold on to everything that has happened in the past 6 years until a soft reboot comes, or until we get a new universe. And only then, after everything is established and after we've fine-tuned everything, is then maybe then is whenever people can finally put all that behind it. But I think these past 5 years have done just what's the word I'm trying to say? Irreversible. The past 6 years have done irreversible damage to the fan base, to where anything is going to be a discussion, anything is going to be a debate, and it's always going to be MCU's done, MCU's back, MCU's dead. I think it goes back to our conversation last week, which we don't have to rehash and redo. I don't think any of it gets fixed until a reboot is in order.
No, it'll make
Benjamin. Final words.
I'm gonna keep standing. I'm gonna keep standing by that.
Final words
on specifically if the MCU needs to be saved still.
My final words are, I don't think, for me personally, that I will ever be at the same level of excitement and caring as much as I did about the MCU during its peak era, 2016 to 2019. I don't think, regardless of what they do, that they can bring me back to that point. But I will still be there to watch every single Marvel movie for the foreseeable future. I have no reason to not. I will be there. I will enjoy the content that I enjoy. I don't know if they can win me back over fully without me comparing it and reminiscing on the nostalgia and love that I had for the franchise. That's my thing about a reboot. I don't think it fixes anything. Maybe in a vacuum it does. If you take everything into account, I think it makes it worse because people will only compare it to what we had. And for a lot of people, it will never be the same. It will never be as good.
Oh, well, yeah.
Real quick, if you can answer this in like a quick couple words, do you think that you can get there with James Gunn's new DCU?
That's what I was thinking just now.
Do you think you'll be able to get to the feelings that you had with the old MCU?
Oh, yes. And the main reason I say yes is because I had no connection to the DC universe when it was the DC extended universe. There was no peaks for me. It was all valleys. Okay. Justice League sucked. All the crap behind the scenes with Snyder, lots of bad movies. All of it was pretty rough. I mean, there was good projects here and there, but there was no baseline that I have to compare what I cared about in the DC extended universe because it just wasn't there. That always was a project by project basis for me from the very beginning. Whereas with the DC universe, with a fresh start, fresh eyes, and a better vision for the next 10 years, absolutely. I think it could get to that point.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I think it could get to that point even quicker.
I thought you were about to make like a definitive statement of like after Supergirl, if Supergirl is great. I thought you were going to say something like that, but that would have been crazy.
I don't think it will take them 11 years. I think already we will get a much better phase 1 to the DC universe than phase 1 of the MCU.
I think I can agree with that too. I mean, just if Lanterns and I guess Peacemaker is technically the next project, but if Lanterns and Supergirl are good, then yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And Clayface next year as well. But yeah, Benjamin, it is time for your Nerd Court question.
Doom doom. All right. It's gonna get heated, gentlemen. I wrote it down just so I could read it. The MCU should have never released any TV shows.
Ooh, wowzers. Wow.
Can I make my case first before we start? Just to preface where I'm at.
Sure, yeah. I want to think about it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking.
There are some things that we got through television shows that are incredible that I absolutely love. Loki, of course, being one of them. My solution for that is simple. They could have done a Loki movie and it could have accomplished the same thing in 2.5 hours that we got in a couple seasons. Or at least in my brain, I feel like we could have gotten Loki to that same point character-wise, and that would have worked just fine. There are other things, such as Daredevil Born Again. I'm willing to sacrifice it. I am willing to sacrifice projects like Daredevil Born Again, Moon Knight, which I love, any of the projects that I like or love from television shows, I am willing to sacrifice to get rid of all of the crap that came along with it. And then my final point is that anything that we've seen in TV shows that has been significant to the main storyline in movies could have been accomplished and should have been accomplished just in the movies themselves.
Yeah, I
hold on. Hey, whoa, buddy. Whoa, I'm not going before you, but I just want to get some clarification here because I don't know if you should be wondering this too. Does animated stuff count? So X-Men 96, because technically it's not in the MCU.
I think that specials can stay and non-canonical MCU animated stuff is fine.
So Werewolf by Night, Guardians Holiday Special, that stuff's fine?
Because that's, those like one-off
mini movies. Yeah.
Mini movies on Guardians was more of, I guess, with main characters, but that's kind of, to me, that's an irrelevant point. You can keep the animated stuff just because, like, you could take Marvel Studios out of those animated shows like X-Men 97 or Spider-Man. Take Marvel Studios out of that, the show is the exact same.
Sure.
Whereas that's not true for the other shows based on characters that we had known for years. So
that's why I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
Keep your little
Aiden,
animated shows, but that's totally fine.
This guy, little animated shows. It's funny how everybody that's watched X-Men 97 and is listening to this is like, the fuck is the dude on the bottom talking about? Holy. So I actually still don't know. I feel like I have two answers. One is, yeah, they should have never made TV shows because, like, even the ones that are good, and again, this is aside from Loki season 2, everything else I don't think is ever good enough to excuse what happened in that period of time. I don't think WandaVision is good enough. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, Daredevil. I don't think any of those shows are good enough to sacrifice where we are at now with Feige being stretched so thin, quality or quantity over quality. I don't think any of those shows are good enough to excuse any of that. However, I still think about all the character development that Sam Wilson got in Falcon and Winter Soldier and how that paid off now. I think about, and again, this is just me and probably a bit of Charlie, because I can't even say anything for Moon Knight because he hasn't been in anything. So what is the point? Can't even say anything for Daredevil. Still hasn't been in anything. And granted, there might be things in production. There might be future projects. At this point in time, still nothing. So as far as I know, all of this stuff is pointless, except for the ones that actually showed up in movies afterwards. And for those characters, Sam Wilson, very good to me. Even Bucky in that show, like all of that is very good to me. And I'm a big Sam Wilson Captain America guy. I mean, like that is my Captain America. Mm-hmm. That is my leader of this new Avengers team. Like, and so
I treat him as such in Doomsday, man.
Exactly, and I'm all for that, which is why I say that's why I'm on the other side of the coin with it. WandaVision, I think everything that happened in there leading into Multiverse of Madness, big WandaVision fan.
Episode 8.
And then Kamala Khan, even hate the show all you want because we definitely do. Her inclusion into the Marvels and into the movie aspect of the MCU, still great. So on one hand, yes, death to all TV shows, because if that were the case, one, none of them are important enough to justify what happened, and two, we wouldn't be in this position anyways. But on the other side of that coin, we don't get Sam Wilson's Captain America. We don't get WandaVision. Like, you know, and granted, you can make a case for, well, you can do that in a movie. Well, like, you can just do that in a special presentation. And sure, but at the same time, it's TV, man. Like, nothing is going to be like TV. Nothing is going to be like watching Loki season 1 and 2. You don't just get that in 1 or 2 movies. Like, sure, not going to be great movies, though. Yeah, you're going to make 18 special presentations. Ben, you cannot do Loki season 1 and 2 in a movie or 2 and get the same feeling that a TV show would make you.
I'm not advocating for them to try and tell the exact same story that spanned across those 2 seasons. I'm saying getting Loki from Avengers Endgame standpoint to Loki season 2 end standpoint, you can do that in a 2.5 hour.
Well,
dude, think about how much they accomplish in 2.5 hour movies. What are we talking about?
The only thing I don't like about what you're saying, Ben, is like that we're just at that point, we're just using Loki to get him to a certain purpose, get him to help with Doomsday, get him where we need him to be in Doomsday, rather than like telling the absolute masterpiece of a story.
Well, not only that,
Loki season 2.
You have a year and a half in between making the TV show. You make a movie. Once you write it and put it out, like, that's it. You can maybe backtrack with another movie. You can maybe do something different. You put a whole TV show out of a season 1, and then you just cook up ideas over the next year and put a season 2 out, and you get all that time to flesh that entire journey out, which is why the finale hits the way it does. Look what Fantastic Four just did in under 2 hours. Utter shit. When it, like, if that were a TV show, that shit would have hit so much harder. But you're putting it in a 2-hour movie for the sake of it. Like, no, Aiden, bro, it doesn't hit the same. Give it 4 movies. Who cares? It doesn't hit the same. It's TV.
Think about Thunderbolts and what that did in 2 hours. This is the point. We can go back and forth every all day about this movie took 2 hours and didn't accomplish anything.
And it still would have been better if it were a TV show. It would have done it better if it were a TV show.
You can say,
Charlie, would it not? Would Thunderbolts was a TV show? Would it have done it better?
Say that because we have the TV show to compare to.
I might agree with that.
Think about Avengers Infinity War. That's the first real time that we saw Thanos. Think about how much happens in that movie with collecting the Infinity Stones and him winning at the very end. Yeah, you could say, oh, that could be 2 seasons of television, but they did it in a movie in 2.5 hours. I don't think you understand how much you can tell story-wise in a movie. Like, yeah, we could say they did it well in the TV show, and you can't cram 10 hours of content into a 2.5-hour movie. It's like, yeah, you can. You just approach it differently.
No,
you can tell the same story.
You cannot physically tell Loki season 1, his journey from Loki season 1, episode 1 to the finale of season 2 in a 2.5-hour movie or a 2-hour movie and have it be the same quality and hit just as hard. You cannot do that. You physically cannot do that.
But we only say that because we have the show. Like, would Avengers Infinity War work better and have more depth if it was a 10-hour, 2-season show? Would it have more depth and we would care about Thanos winning in the end even more? Yeah, because there's more content. Sure. That's the whole. So the whole thing that I'm saying is you only say that because we have the show. But imagine the show never existed. There's a Loki movie that's announced. We sit down. It's a 2-hour and 40-minute movie, say the same length of like an Avengers Infinity War. I think they can, not to the same depth, not with as much content. I think they can still tell a very high quality story of Loki going from where he was in Avengers Endgame to then where he's at the end of Loki season 2. We can bridge that gap and still have him in the same place where we are like fully in, this is sick. We love this ending, the music hitting, and we want to see Loki in a future project, and we're hyped for him to be in Doomsday. Absolutely, I think we can get to that point. The only reason why you think we can't is because we have the show already.
I think the bottom line is you could take any movie, granted not any movie, but if you use Thunderbolts as an example, we use it. You even said it. If you have more content and more time with them, you would care more. That is the bottom line. So if you're sitting here saying we don't need a Sam Wilson's Captain America, we don't need Falcon and Winter Soldier, we could just do that in a special presentation or do that in a movie. There are so many things left on the table that I love to see. And if I were to walk out of that movie, if they did do that in a movie, I'd be sitting there probably thinking, man, I would have loved to see more Bucky. I would have loved to see more of the buddy cop stuff. I would have loved to have, because that's what I was doing with Fantastic Four. Like, what are we doing? I just don't understand how that doesn't correlate.
No, but they did it well with Thunderbolts. This is the whole point is we can go. We can go back and forth. Better. Aiden, I absolutely would rather that they completely canned Falcon and Winter Soldier as a show, that it never existed, and this new Captain America movie focused on some of that character arc and did it better than what they decided to do in the show, and now with a movie that's pretty mediocre and we're upset with. Like, if his new movie was focused more on some of those elements that you like of Falcon and Winter Soldier, it might have been a better movie. Like, you can have those good elements still. And I'm not just saying, oh, just add on a ton of special presentations, add on a ton of movies and whatnot. We used to never get television shows and we were happy. We don't need them. You can tell the stories. You can have the character arcs. You can have them go through conflicts. You can have growth. You don't need a television show to do that.
And right there, I agree with you. And that's why I say, like, I don't think any of the TV shows have been as great a quality to excuse that, aside from Loki season 2. And that's where the main argument comes with Loki season 2. I just think comparing TV to film, and for certain things, for certain topics, and for certain genres, TV can excel 1,000, like, way better, to where I think if I were to land on a definitive answer, I would agree with you, to where I don't think we should have ever had any TV shows. I think I can, after this discussion, after our back and forth, I think I can land there. But I will still stand by the fact that, because bottom line is, none of that development, none of that stuff is good enough to excuse it. But that Loki season 2, like, you don't just get that in a movie. And that's where the argument came from. That's where the back and forth came, is that sometimes those TV shows need to exist. Sometimes those bottom line they do. Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3. If that were in a movie, like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? It's just basic common sense at that point that some of these projects
dude's bringing up non-MCU to try and prove his point.
Anything, because you're sitting here saying that movies. I mean, you're sitting here saying, oh, well, Infinity War, if it could have been a TV show, of course it would have hit different, but it wasn't, because it was a movie. You're arguing hypotheticals as well. No, we don't know how that TV show went. Oh, but we know how this TV show went. Like, anything that favors your argument is what you're feeding into.
But the principles of what you're saying, if you apply it to other things, it crumbles. You would never critique Infinity War because it wasn't 10 hours long.
Well, going that's in why depth on. That's why I say for certain types of genres, or for whatever story you're trying to tell, and for the story of Loki and that, I think 1,000% that needed to be a 2-season TV show.
Well,
now other projects, maybe like Falcon Winter Soldier, like just a 6-episode, like 1 season, 6 episode. Okay, maybe you can make a case for that. But things like, and again, I'm just pulling from the superhero genre. That's why I brought up Daredevil. Things like Daredevil, things like Loki. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. 1,000% the main stand-in here is Loki seasons 1 and 2. If you're telling me to get rid of that and put it in a movie, I 1,000% am taking the TV show. I don't care, because regardless, if you put it in a 2.5-hour movie, you're not getting what we got right there. And at that point, you're just arguing hypotheticals. Oh, but if you saw the movie and the TV show never existed, would you care at that point? I'm always going to care, because I'm always going to want more if the movie's good enough.
I have one final response, and then I want Charlie to talk a little bit, because we've been going back and forth. Here's what I will say. If television shows never existed, which allowed them to put focus into other projects, and let's say, the hypothetical world where we get a Loki movie, but let's say that taking out television shows make all of the movies 20% better, 30% better, whatever it may be. They're putting more focus into it. They're in their bag like they were. Would you sacrifice even the good seasons of television in order to live in that world where we are just as pleased during that peak era of Marvel? In my case, I am saying absolutely. If sacrificing even a there's lots of hypotheticals around Loki, so we don't need to keep going back and forth. But I would even sacrifice Loki season 1 and 2, Daredevil Born Again, Moon Knight. I would sacrifice those shows that I like to get rid of all the ones that I hate, and so that they could have focused more on the movies, and those could have been better throughout the last few years. I'm taking that every day.
Here's my answer to that. In the MCU, in the context of the MCU, if you're asking me right now if they should have never made TV shows, I would say yes. Side note, I do think some can be beneficial, and that's where I bring in the like Peacemaker and Loki's, where I think if you make them and you know for sure they're a banger and they're Daredevil season 3 type of bangers, make them. But at that point, it's just, you might as well just get rid of them. So I don't know. It's a very, I go back and forth, but if I were to give an answer, I'd say, yeah, I would sacrifice all the TV shows so that they could focus on the movies, because then we wouldn't be in the spot we're in right now.
Yeah, and obviously picking and choosing is great, but my whole stance was a very harsh, like, nothing.
Yeah,
I'd sacrifice it all.
I'd give up all the TV shows.
Charlie?
Yeah, I this whole time, I mean, I've been on the stance. Like,
he's like, bro, I agreed this whole time.
Like, I agree. Yeah, I would get rid of the TV shows, 100%, 1,000%, because I mean that's what I cited when I was going off about if the MCU needed to be saved or not. I think I said that I think that a lot of the negative thought process around the MCU revolves around the TV shows and how mid or divisive they might have all been. And obviously, like, your guys' takes on Loki season 2, I agree 100% with Aiden. I don't think you can, you can make a movie, you can try, but it is not going to hit nearly, anywhere near the same level of that season 1 and season 2 do. I do think you can get one done and get Loki to the spot you need him to be in. And I think that you can even make a great character arc for him, but it won't be as good as the TV show, 100%. But sure. I'm still willing to sacrifice that. I do think though, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I actually think that probably would have been better as a movie. And like I'm imagining it like at the end how they did with Thunderbolts and like, oh, it's actually the new Avengers. The title of the movie is the same as the show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then at the end of the movie when Sam Wilson actually becomes Captain America, the title changes to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Ah, man, that would have been fire.
But see, like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel would have sucked as movies.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
And we're not great TV shows either. Like, you know, like
sure,
I'd still sacrifice them.
I'm glad you said that about Moon Knight, buddy. I'm glad you said that about Moon Knight.
More so like Miss Marvel and WandaVision. Sure. It's like
the way that I view it is if anything happened in a TV show with a character we knew or a character that was going to show up in another project, have anything significant from that show be a part of that project. So
like Miss Marvel show up in the Marvels like she did.
Sure. Yeah, Miss Marvel didn't need a show to do that. You don't need to have a She-Hulk show. Like you don't need a lot of these shows, right? Yeah. But if you're going to have Wanda go on her villain arc, have that be a part of the story of Doctor Strange. The Falcon and Winter Soldier as a movie would have been great, especially considering I think we were all a little upset at the lack of Bucky in a Captain America movie. So like if the main story revolved around him and Sam's relationship, that's great. So that's my thing is like any character that's significant in getting their own movie, still have those character arcs, even some of those important moments, but have that in their projects. But in some ways, it almost feels like Falcon and Winter Soldier drained a lot of stuff so that Captain America 4 just kind of, you know, did its own thing and didn't really work. Or it should have built better on it. I guess you could
see.
Make that
that's
argument.
The thing. I think that it could have worked because, like, dude, at literally the last scene in the movie, I keep saying this every time we talk about this movie. They introduce a thought process that apparently Sam has been living with the entire time, and it was never talked about once. He tells Joaquin that he needs to be on his best at all times. So he says something I believe about how it can show that he deserves to be where he's at because he can't let the other people that are striving to be like him down. And like, dude, that is so fire. Why are you telling me this in the last 2 minutes of the movie? Like, I agree with you in that aspect that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier took away, like, it did so much character work for both Sam and Bucky that there wasn't much left to do in Brave New World, but that 5-minute sequence just shows that, like, hey, there was something to do, but for some reason we just didn't do it. Red Hulk was more important and the leader was more important, even though they weren't because they were hardly in it. So whatever, not to complain about that movie, but back to the TV show thing, the animated stuff, I wanted to make sure I can keep that because X-Men 97, so damn good. And the beginning of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I mean, the beginning of the season, yeah, it was like, well, hold on. The beginning of the season, it was a slow climb up, but like I'm there for it now, and I think that the subsequent seasons, I'm very excited for them. I think they can be really good, with the exception, and when it comes to the animated shows, with the exception of What If, if we can drop that, go ahead, please take it away from me.
Wait, okay, I gotta ask. Would you sacrifice the animated shows, including X-Men 97, for that? So all television, no special presentations, no
for the movies to be better. Is that what you're going to ask me?
For all the movies that we've gotten thus far to be, throw it out, 30%, 40% better than they were.
Immediate answer, off the heart, off the dome, no, because truthfully, there's no movie that was bad that I wished would be better, with the exception of Quantumania.
Really?
Like, yeah, there's no movie that I thought was bad that I wish was better, that I wish was so much better, other than Quantumania. And I guess maybe
Wolverine,
Thor: Love and
Brave
Thunder.
New World, Thor: Love and Thunder, yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
But it's even little like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Those being 7 out of 10s for me. I would want the 30% to push it to an 8 or a 9.
8 out of 10s for me.
See, that's the thing. I love Multiverse of Madness. That's my thing. Like, I think it was great. I think it was really great stuff. So, like, maybe that's the difference in that answer for me. Because, like, dude, X-Men 97, bro, I don't think, like, I struggle to think of, like Quantumania, sure. If I got rid of X-Men 97, how much better is Quantumania going to be? because that shit is like, I'm telling you, I think that is probably the worst thing that Marvel's ever done. It's worse than Thor Ragnarok, bro. That movie is so
No
bad.
way.
Thor Ragnarok.
Thor
It's
Ragnarok.
or Thor, sorry,
Ragnarok.
Thor the Dark World. Sorry, Thor
Bro
the
hates
Dark World.
Thor
That is
Ragnarok.
so bad, bro. It is so bad. I hate that movie so much.
I think Thor
Oh
Love
my
and Thunder
gosh.
is way worse.
Dude, but at least Thor Love and Thunder has like the emotional core thing like at the very end. You know, like Quantumania doesn't
That
even
shit
have
brought
that.
no emotion out of me. Thor Love and
Okay,
Thunder brought
that's
zero
fine. At
emotion.
least
Shit
it
felt like Sue
attempted, bro.
Storm fake dying at the end of Fantastic
At
Four.
least it tried, though, bro. Freaking Quantumania didn't do anything. It did nothing. There was nothing, bro. Oh my gosh. No consequences, bro. They barely got away from Kang, and there's nothing. The TVA took care of him, bro. Like, come on, dude. I hate this shit so much. But to answer your question, Ben, ultimately, yeah, I would get rid of the TV shows, with the exception of the animated ones. I would keep those because, dude, X-Men 97 is so good. I know you haven't seen the light yet, Ben. I know you haven't seen the light yet. Hopefully soon. And who knows? Maybe Marvel Zombies will be really good too. I'm hoping. And maybe Wakanda, Eyes of Wakanda in 2 days. Yeah. Maybe that'll be really good too.
Could be asleep.
I honestly thought that I would get more pushback for this take. Mainly for the reason that I feel like you guys.
He thinks for MCU dick riders, bro. You hear that? He thinks for MCU dick riders.
Well, just like Charlie, your enjoyment of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Aiden, you like Moon Knight more than Charlie does. You like WandaVision more than I do. Just, you know, and the love for Loki season 2. I actually thought this was going to be like, I was going to get bashed for even saying this. So
really?
Like
what? You thought we were that ride or die for it? That's crazy.
I think the like general, or the I don't want to keep saying principle, but whatever, I'll do it. The principal feeling I have is just like all of those shows being in production while consistently trying to put out 2 to 3 movies a year is just never a good recipe for any cinematic universe. And obviously, look, like in the moment, man, I remember putting on WandaVision, just being like, "Here's the freaking fanfare! Like, it's been so long. Like, it's finally time. COVID's behind us. It's time to continue like the MCU post Endgame." But like looking back, it was so much of a detriment to the MCU as a whole. And I think if they would have just never done that, I mean, I don't think we're in the position that we're at right now, where we're having to fast track Doomsday and Secret Wars 7 years after Endgame.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
ultimately, that's why I'm just like, I'd do away with them. Fine with me.
And it's also just like getting into the minutia of it. Like, ultimately, they've tried to make the TV shows just not even required viewing. So it really was just extra work for no reason.
No reason.
Just to appease what they thought the fans wanted, which to a degree, like Aiden's talking about, like, yeah, if we enjoy something, we want more of it. But like, I don't want it to hurt what is already coming out. You know, I don't want it to hurt what's already planned, what's already on the docket. And so for them to drop WandaVision and have her I think that her starting to use the book, there's a lot of discussion on whether Wanda's arc from WandaVision to Multiverse of Madness is good or not. I think it is. She starts using the book in the post-credit scene of WandaVision, and then in the beginning of Multiverse of Madness, she's using the book to find her kids. I really don't understand there's nothing beyond that needs to work better, but just that was maybe a poor example of what I'm trying to say. Look at something like I don't know, I guess even for example, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like we talked about how they covered so many bases in that it was harder for them to touch on things in Brave New World. But at the end of the day, I still think, and when Ben and I talked about the movie, you can watch Brave New World without watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you've missed nothing. And you don't need to watch Miss Marvel to understand Miss Marvel's inclusion in the Marvels, that kind of thing. And sure, there's some that have remained to be seen. We don't know where Moon Knight's going to pop up again. If his show is going to be required watching, I'm going to bet not. If I'm a betting man, like you can't expect people to now watch a 3-year-old TV show at this current time. By the time he pops up again, who knows how many years that'll be away, so all of this stuff was not even required viewing. And so when it comes to the TV, when you come out with a movie with that character in it, you just, it's not something that somebody needs to watch that show to understand. What was the point of it all? You wasted all these time and resources, took time away from Kevin being able to watch over all of these, all the bigger projects like the movies and whatnot, for essentially no reason, because the fans, a lot of the time, didn't enjoy what you even gave us with the TV shows. So 1000% agree. Great question.
Yeah, I think part of it maybe was also that I know you guys are more into television shows than I am, just in general.
Sure.
So for me, of course, taking 3 high quality movies a year and sacrificing 3 okay TV shows a year, like it's a pretty easy trade for me. And it almost ties into what we were talking about before, that like I might still have the same joy and excitement for Marvel if they had continued to bang out incredible movies post Endgame. But I think television shows had an effect on that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I concur.
It all ties together.
Yeah. And with that brings us to the end of episode 104 of the Words from the Nerds podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for watching or listening wherever you are doing it. We hope you have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day you are watching or listening. Audio listeners, apologize for the wheel use at the beginning, but we explained it pretty well. So I think you'll be fine. We hope to do more Nerd Court episodes in the future, and we'll see where time allots for that. But I think this was pretty good. We had a lot of good discussions. A lot of Ben being wrong, so that's what we like.
Staple here.
But if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we upload new episodes, which is weekly. Also, if you're on YouTube, check out our shorts. We have a lot of cool shorts if you want to get like bite-sized little clips of what episodes are like. That's a great way to do that.
Link in the bio for everywhere you can find us.
Yes. And if you're on a podcast listening platform like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please drop us a rating. We deserve it. We deserve it. So give us a good one now. And also, leave some fan mail. And also, if you're on YouTube, drop a comment, because we'd love to read it aloud at the beginning. We got a lot of people speaking up in the shorts. A lot of people want to say, these guys got podcast equipment, yada, yada. So type it in the YouTube. Type it on the actual episode, bro. We'll read it aloud. Read it aloud, big dog. Come on, man. Yeah, speak up a little bit. But, yeah. Thank you guys again so very much. We will see you next week with some more great discussion. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week.
Eyes of Wakanda and maybe
Eyes of Wakanda, yes.
And
maybe some horror movies stuff. Yeah. But with that being said, adios.
Peace.
Sayonara.
I was waiting for you to do it.